I do so with no ill will, but with enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
When it all ended in tears for Theresa, her departure put a smile on many a Conservative face. She, who had failed to deliver Brexit, was finished.
Boris, you still back in those
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Absolutely beautiful.
He smelt the sweet scent of opportunity. After crashing and burning last time, Boris Johnson is determined the door to Downing Street will not slam shut on his boundless ambition again.
I think you're too divisive to be Tory Prime Minister.
Get me a ladder.
Boris Johnson has made a name for himself as the bobbing buffoon. A man who makes you laugh, the political entertainer. But behind the dishevelled demeanour is a calculating mind on a mission to capture the top job. 4 years ago, I asked him this. Do you want to be Prime Minister of Great Britain?
Well, I think I will be a pretty decrepit old man by the time David Cameron relinquishes the reins of office. And there will be, all sorts of young thrusters, perhaps some of them getting their selfies with us today will be putting their names forward.
But Brexit changed everything, and Boris did everything he could to see it come to pass.
The EU, it's crap, but we have no alternative. That's what they say. That's their line. Well, my folks, I'm afraid we do have an alternative. We do have an alternative, and it's a glorious alternative.
So we'll have a new Prime Minister in that building behind me.
As David Cameron's leadership perished on the Brexit altar, so too did Theresa May's. Her deal about as unpopular as she became.
I think he is a liar. I think he's very vain. I think he's pretty narcissistic. His private life's a mess.
Alastair Campbell was Labor Prime Minister Tony Blair's communications director and now campaigns for a second referendum on Brexit. He's just been expelled from the Labor Party for voting for the Liberal Democrats over their anti-Brexit stand. Not surprisingly, he's no fan of the Brexit-loving blonde.
Unite this House.
Probably the worst foreign secretary that we've ever had. No attention to detail, no big ideas, all about showbiz. It's like, you know, politics is showbiz for ugly people. Well, he's your man.
The great quality of Boris is his persona, his charisma, that he appeals to people across the political spectrum.
Boris Johnson's a friend of mine. He's been very, very nice to me, very supportive.
Watch out.
Boris Johnson's eccentric star began to rise when he became Mayor of London in 2008. After being elected to Parliament, he joined Theresa May's cabinet as Foreign Secretary, before quitting over her Brexit deal.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Go on.
This political celebrity has had a tabloid-friendly private life, several marriages, many affairs and a love child. But the bonking Boris moniker appears to do no harm, politically at least.
He hasn't just been a sleep-around. He has been a promiser to people who have believed him, and when the promises were broken, their lives have been, in one way or another, quite damaged by it. That's a kind of cruelty that I can't forgive.
Matthew Parris is a former Conservative MP, now journalist, and clearly no Boris booster.
Anybody that's worked closely with Boris has doubts about his character and about his reliability.
Whoever emerges as the new Prime Minister, he or she will have to contend with an altered reality. Last weekend's European parliamentary elections gave the newly formed Brexit Party, led by Nigel Farage, a thumping 29 seats. The Conservatives got just 4.
If we don't leave on October the 31st, then the scores you've seen for the Brexit Party today will be repeated in a general election, and we are getting ready for it. Thank you.
Nigel Farage has put more than a strong breeze up the ruling Conservatives, who have a serious problem ahead. The latest Brexit deadline is October the 31st, so whoever emerges as Prime Minister will have just a couple of months to cobble together a new exit deal, which the EU says, by the way, is not happening. Or they could crash out without one, or push the deadline back again, or just about anything.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Blair. ABC Australia, have you got 30 seconds, please?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Tony Blair knows a thing or two about being Prime Minister. He was one for 10 years, and he's deeply troubled about the direction of British politics.
Is Boris Johnson the answer?
Well, the Conservative Party's going to have to decide who his leader is, but whoever is the leader of the Conservative Party, they're going to have to deal with the fundamental question for the Conservatives, which is, do they become a narrow nationalistic party, or do they broaden out? And the Labour Party, by the way, has got exactly the same choice.
I don't doubt that Boris has sufficient discipline.
Influential Conservative MP and Brexiteer Steve Baker might join the race to be PM, but the Boris factor will be hard to beat.
Well, if the race was about charisma, about star quality, about capacity to mobilise the public, well, of course, Boris Johnson is the absolute standout candidate.
His fellow MPs will whittle down the large field of candidates to just 2. The ordinary party members will then choose which one becomes the next Prime Minister.
Boris is leading in the polls amongst our members. He's extremely popular with a great track record in the London mayoralty.
Allow me to.
Just yesterday, a rather large stick was thrown into the spokes of Boris's pedal to power.
Let's stop Downing Street, Boris.
He's been ordered to appear in court to face a private prosecution of misconduct while in office.
Do you think they've won? No, they haven't.
That, after the Brexit campaign he helped lead, claimed Britain was paying the European Union £350 million a week, more than $500 million. If convicted for lying, the penalty is anything up to life in prison. Not quite the life he was planning for right now. His enemies, and there are plenty of them, will be delighted.
I am staying a member of the Conservative Party solely for the pleasure, the privilege, which few in this country have, of voting against Boris Johnson.
It's a beautiful day.
But in the longer term, he is the most dangerous and the one I can imagine doing most damage to Britain as our Prime Minister.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.